Hey there, and welcome back to the Second Lunch Podcast. This is an episode number, and Hot Jake is back with us, son of a bitch, who's been gone for the last 2 fucking weeks. Doesn't even give a shit about us anymore. Where did he go first? California or some stupid bullshit? Okay. Oh, Cali, bro. Cool. Really fucking cool. And then he decided, instead of being disappointed by us, he'd rather be disappointed by the Mariners last week. So, anyway, mediocre Jake is with us today.
We've lost all of our Seattle fans.
Yeah. And
where did Jake go in California? Where did you go?
Yeah, where the fuck did you go?
Oh yeah, that's fair to take shots at, I suppose, Chris.
Okay, I'll let you go. I'll let you handle it. No,
I left my Ukaipa jokes at home, in fairness. But I've already said I trust no word with more vowels than consonants, all right? And that's one of them.
Sounds vaguely like a slur in the middle. I'm just not a fan of the place altogether. But we are going to have to cut that, and we're glad Jake is back, I guess. We're just going to get rolling. No, we love you, Jake. Although, I did bring your birthday present last week. Left it outside on accident, so
we'll have to figure that one out.
Did it get stolen? Are we in Seattle? Of course it's gone. I didn't even look. That is gone.
If you see a random gentleman walking around the streets that has a Pia stored in the bowl shirt, you know who found it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you see the guy I saw rob the 7-Eleven earlier with your shirt on. All right, we're gonna launch right into it. I'm wearing a soccer jersey today. For those of you listening,
expanding your sports horizons.
It's
only a matter of time until I bring you in on the fight game.
Yeah, it is only a matter of time. I like sports. I just decided I'm gonna give it a shot. Why not? It's kind of weird. Again, I still do not relate to all the running.
Yeah,
but it's
that's why they're on TV, and
I'm not. And I'm drinking beers. It is pretty entertaining to watch, though, and I started thinking about all the stuff that in my life I thought I hated, and then I kind of gave it a shot and changed my mind about country music, hockey, poop jokes. Now soccer. Do you have anything like that?
So country music's a good one. I think that, and this is probably reflective of how much of a shit I am, I think there's more things that I have grown to hate that I once found palatable or enjoyable. Like Forrest Gump. Perfectly fine movie for the first 15 years of my life. Now, get that shit off the TV immediately.
That's me with the Cosby Show. Different reasons, but I get it.
Cosby ousted himself out of your life a little more violently, say, than Tom Hanks did. But one thing I realized in recent years, and this isn't something I actually don't like, but I just realized you got to take it easy, is raw onion. Like when I get a Subway sandwich or something and they go nuts on the raw onion, like, this is too much allium. You've ruined this. You've completely fucked me. But yeah, things that I used to hate that I have grown to appreciate. Yeah, I guess this is the only one I didn't have a great...
Eating ass.
No, I think I always had some appreciation for it. You know, like the first couple times you listen to a really great album, like Neutral Milk Hotel or something, and the first 2 times you're like, I don't understand this. But then by the third time you're like, this is pretty cool. That's more how I would review Eating Ass, old 87. Yeah, that's a good one. We can transition on that note to the Tinderella.
And to Tinderella questions.
I got you.
What do you do when the power goes out? For me, straight to the freezer. I got to make sure the ice cream's sorted. I'm not letting that shit melt. Too many cows work too fucking hard to make this ice cream. Got to make sure that's sorted. I'm also not going to be sober with the... Like, what else am I going to do? Sit there in the dark? I got to be fucking ham. So I always go to wherever there is power and get some reinforcements.
This is interesting. It's a bit of a dissection of the hierarchy of needs, because the first thing you did is deal with something that's like very much the temperature change puts it at risk.
You don't know how long the power is going to be out. You're
right.
Not just going to let it melt.
Yeah. You're a good Scotty. You're not going to let that dairy go to waste. And also, if you're buying Ben & Jerry's or something, $4 down the drain, down my throat. Yeah. Eat some ice cream soup. But then the second thing you named really has nothing to do with the power going out. Like, your beer's not going to go bad. That's just Chris taking care of his emotional needs. He's moved up one ladder on the hierarchy of needs. He's almost to religious enlightenment. Once he gets... So this is a great question. I'd say the first thing is, do you do stuff when you start to think the power might go out? Because there's obviously sometimes where shit just goes out.
Stop playing video games, because when the power goes out in the middle of, I've got 5 goals with Sidney Crosby, and there's like 30 seconds left before the game's over, and I can save, and the power goes out.
Yeah, that's nightmare scenario. Well, also most games now they're like always online, so it's like, all right, I'm not gonna let fucking Zeus give me a loss here. Right. I got Halliday run in the second inning. All right, if I don't finish this shit, I'm gonna be irate. But there are times where you get the chance to do the prep work. So when you see like the wind swirling and you're like, shit, power might go out, lights flicker. Is there anything you do where you're like, fuck, I gotta charge my phone? I'm gonna
make sure I have wine. that's I should have made that clear. That's the thing I always go get, because I'm not gonna be able to stay up doing anything to the point where I'm tired. But red wine makes me sleepy if I have enough of it. So like 2 glasses.
So you've got your medicine.
So I got to make it right. Dad needs the old cough medicine.
Yeah, I'm definitely running around the house charging things like a jackass. And then as soon as the power goes out, I have to have the ice cream sorted before that, because when the power goes out, I turn into the old guy that's like, nobody opened the fridge. We could be out of power for 3 days. Like, we're going to be out of power for 45 minutes, but got to keep the ice box cold.
You don't know.
Yeah. This could be it. All right. How deep do you get into a set of instructions before you go rogue?
It really depends on how many words there are. If there's pictures, I mostly rely on the pictures, but the words, it's just a lot.
Now, are we using the same strategy here for both like IKEA furniture and frozen foods? We got different directions in the world here to consider.
That's a lot of words. I'm going to say 425 for 30 minutes.
This is when you find out.
Furniture you can kind of figure out. Give me the pictures. Let's just make the pictures better. What's with the words? I'm not here to read. I'm here to put this together. If it's more than 50% words, that's when I start taking some liberties and making my own decisions.
Yeah, but with IKEA, there's always, you run that risk of at the end, there's like 8 leftover screws. Whereas if there's food, it's not like I'm going to be like, where do these chicken breasts come
screws, from? There's holes. You can tell where things are supposed to go. If you're fucking up with screws, you're just a fuck up.
Well, I mean, first of all, we've talked about this on the show. But second of all, it depends on the caliber of IKEA shit that you're buying. Like putting together one of their chairs, a breeze. Putting together an armoire, a bit more complicated, little bit more Byzantine. So, yeah, I think if I'm going, definitely if I'm cooking, I'm more likely to go rogue. But I do not trust myself.
Really? I'm the exact opposite. I will follow everything to the letter on cook, because I don't trust myself in the kitchen. At all.
But I get all the ingredients in there, but when it's like 1/4 teaspoon, you mean one of those? You mean approximately that amount of shaking the bottle?
Vague amount of salt.
Yeah. If I were writing a cookbook, it'd be like, examine the size of the holes on the top of the seasoning you're attempting to use and do your best.
Holes cookbook. Measure with your heart.
Yeah, big holes, you want to take it easy. Little holes, go a little more nuts. All right. Is there anything more painful than nostril pimples?
Katie thinks it's childbirth, but I don't know. I'm skeptical, because I don't think there is anything worse than.
You're telling me you had a bad week.
Yeah, dude, a nostril pimple, that is fucking gnarly, dude. When it's like right there, and it's just how are you even getting pimply? It just drives me nuts that it can even happen.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I come across in life where I go, that's probably God's intention. But then there's some things like that or mosquitoes where I'm like, maybe there is no God. Or maybe he was at least not involved in this decision. Sometimes you let the game run on autopilot.
It doesn't make me believe more in God, but it does make me believe more in Satan.
I will say that if you get the pimple in the earlobe, and if you've got earlobes like mine, I've got a lot of real estate to potentially, pull one. Those ones can be.
Are you getting hair in your ears yet?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Fuck, dude. I'm getting some fucking real old man hairs on my ears. I went to get a haircut the other day, and I think the woman was trying to do it quickly. so as to not like maybe
to
I
not
wouldn't
call
catch it.
attention to the fact
Right.
that you just got your ears trimmed.
Yeah, but she trimmed the ear hair for me, like, and then I was like, well, you might as well do the eyebrows.
That's
I was like, can you please do my eyebrows, because it's better than me fucking this up at home. I remember one time when I was in like 8th grade, somebody, and this is peak sensitive kid, right? I was a pimpled face junior high kid. Somebody was talking about how bushy my eyebrows were. And I remember somebody being like, why don't you like take care of that? So I was like, I'm going to take care of it. I went home and tried to sort out my own eyebrows with a razor, like for my face. I came out looking like I had 2 of Charlie Chaplin's mustaches above my eyes. It was a nightmare.
You didn't go for the height. You more went for the...
Yeah. Well, then I was like, oh, they're uneven. So I kept going back and forth and so then I was like, well, I can't go out in public like this. So I got aviator sunglasses and a hat and looked like I was going to rob a bank at all times.
We know who D.B. Cooper was. He was a guy that got embarrassed about fucking his eyebrows up. He tried to light a smoke on a gas stove and it fucking went up like a goddamn Christmas tree. I did do that once. I did try to light a smoke on the stove on a gas range and just absolutely took out some, win some, you lose some. That's why you don't crank it all the way up to high. You don't go power broiler when you're just trying to get your nicotine fix. Yeah, I'm gonna go. There is nothing more painful than that.
No, that's it.
So this is a good one. What is the story behind the time you pissed off your significant other the most?
I don't know how many times this has happened to you, and this might just be the world in which somebody who drinks too much lives in, but have you ever had it where you wake up hungover to a door slamming and your significant other just fucking yelling? Because that is the worst way to wake up. Actually, unrelated story. That's how I found out about Kendall. Katie and I got in this is the time I pissed her off second most, actually. Also hungover. Big argument. She comes in yelling at me, and I'm like too hungover I'm like, just let's talk about this in like 3 hours. Just let me sleep a little bit. And she comes back in and starts yelling at me. And she's like, we have another fucking problem. I'm pregnant. I was like, wow, that's the most romantic way you could have told me that. Jesus. So now we have a lovely 6-month-old daughter.
This brings up my next question. What's your cure for a hangover? Is it being told that you're expecting a child?
My cure for a hangover is a 9 a.m. beer. That, you got to get it moving again. That's literally your body is just in withdrawals. That's all a hangover is. So you got to add more alcohol back into the system.
Yeah. You got to feed the
monkey. Get it moving again. If you barf, you barf. But most pissed off Katie ever got at me was I always sleep with my phone on silent. And she was on her way to work and she blew a tire and doesn't know how to change a tire. And she's like in a sketchy spot on the side of the freeway where it was like, even if she got out to change it, it wouldn't really be safe. So she had called me like 30 times, but of course I'm fucking out. And so she ends up, this is during peak COVID, so she called her dad, and her dad's like, I don't know if I should even come see you. We could spread COVID or whatever. Anyway, she ends up calling a cop who helps her. But anyway, she gets home after this like 3-hour ordeal that I've slept through and came fucking unglued about me not having my phone on loud. So that was the most
Do you have
pissed.
your phone on loud now?
I actually found out how to make it so I can have my phone on silent, but it only makes noise if Katie specifically calls me.
It's like emergency contact setting.
Yeah.
I don't know the most pissed off, but certainly the most recent that was notable and might at least be entertaining for the podcast was I made Ashley very mad when I told her, I was like, I just fucking hate this Juice WRLD song. And I delivered that with no joy. There was no like, hey, can we... Like the dude in Lebowski, like initially, he's like, "Hey man, can you just change the station?" No, I went in full asshole, and I just fucking hate this song. So, and I understandably that was not received well. I think I've learned from that, but even when we talk about it now in hindsight, I'm like, just to be clear, still fucking hate that Juice WRLD song. I just want to be. Delivered that rudely, but But yeah, that was definitely the silliest, dumbest one. I mean, we're planning the wedding, so give me time. I'm sure that I've got something fun.
Yeah, good luck with that.
That I'm going to torpedo. I didn't share my method for curing a hangover. Yeah, it depends on my setting. I think if I'm camping, I'm going 9 a.m. beer.
Yeah.
There are times that, I've got things to do where it's like, all right, we're going. Remember when we talked about breakfast hot dogs? That's when you get the breakfast hot dog.
Oh,
That's when you get the fried rice breakfast.
Oh, God.
Just a little greasy pick-me-up. All right. So
Breakfast hot dogs is the name of our next podcast.
Yeah.
After this one fails.
Yeah. And then the last one is you ain't claiming real estate. Or I meant to say you ain't claiming Social Security.
Well, I also ain't claiming real estate.
Trust me, my financial woes will be buried in my medical records. All right. Strawberry cream cheese and blueberry
What
bagels.
are we doing? What are we doing with this? I mean, I thought strawberry cream cheese. I thought cream cheese had decidedly picked the savory lane. Why are we adding sweet?
What about cheesecake?
What could you even fucking put that on?
The blueberry bagel?
Blueberry bagel. That's about the only thing, right? It would be insane to put it on anything else. And also the blueberry bagel. I feel like we're a little past the blueberry bagel. I feel like that's a little too old.
Like as a society.
I don't know.
I feel the same way about raisins, but continue.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I enjoy a raisin in something from time, not by themselves.
That's a food from a bygone era, man. It's like
right.
a Necco
I feel
wafer.
like in 1970 or whenever the fucking blueberry bagel came out, they were pretty stoked. Right. They're like, have you seen this bagel? They added a blueberry to it. And I'm sure the Polish, my ancestors who invented the goddamn bagel, were probably like, well, this is offensive. I can't believe they're adding something to the already perfect bagel, although the everything bagel is great. I wonder how they feel about the everything bagel. Anyway, blueberry bagel is old news.
If it's 1970, I'm pissed about the fact that the Nixon presidency predates the blueberry bagel by 2 years. I don't even know why I'm mad about that. I just wouldn't think it was possible.
You're already mad about something we don't know for sure.
Yeah, exactly. A made-up date on the fly. That's like the only thing it could possibly be used for. And now I'm trying to think of other inventions where it's like, yep, that's the one. That's the single use that it has. Like the back of a cop car, they've got the seat with the arms in it for when you're cuffed. They've got like the arm cut out for it, and it's like, I'd like to meet the guy who got the arm cut out patent. Yeah. That seat has one fucking use. There is.
Oh, that reminds me of you sending me the list of people who got killed by their own inventions today. They had one about a guy who was driving some sort of car or whatever, died in a car accident because there was two buggies in the road, double wide, in front of him. This is when cars went like 20 miles an hour. How the fuck are you getting in a car accident at 20? How bad are your reflexes? You're dying.
It's all relative.
Going 20 miles an hour.
It's relative to your time, right? Like, watch a movie from 1940 and watch Transformers 4. There's like 16 times the amount of cuts. Like, people these days, their minds are on methamphetamines. Back then, the fucking horse veers right, and you're like, whoa!
No, you mean the horse veers right. Bullshit!
Yeah, exactly.
It took 9 seconds to fucking
to
realize.
completely eat shit on that.
It's slowest Biff ever.
Thomas Midgley. First of all, let me tell you something about Thomas Midgley. He invented both Freon and leaded gasoline. This guy was like a one-man environmental disaster. He's a remarkable dude. At one point, and by the way, when he created leaded gasoline, the negative health effects of lead had been known for like 150 years.
Well, we got to use it somewhere.
Ben Franklin was aware. There's no plausible deniability. Yeah, you've got all these dead Romans to look at that you can blame this on. But anyways, getting off base here, he was killed by his own contraption. It was something that he had invented for himself in his later years to help him get dressed in the morning, and it strangled him. So he tried to Wallace and Gromit his way out of bed and fucking flew too close to the sun, I guess.
Was it made of lead? I feel like everything's got to have lead in it.
It's just, he's not actually interested in even inventing anything. He's just in the pocket of like whatever lead impresario.
No, I
in
like
the
to think he invested heavy in lead. Like he had a bunch of lead in the shed in the yard, and he's
Look,
like, we got to find a way to fucking sell this.
It's all lead and cadmium, dude. We gotta shit. We're gonna poison these people. Well,
I've never looked at anything and be like, I got to put lead in that. Especially gasoline.
You know what separates me from Thomas Midgley Jr.? Lack of desire. No catalyst to fill everything with lead around me. Perhaps I just lack that drive. I'm not hustle grinding enough to. I don't have that rise and grind mindset to fill my life with lead. But yeah, he, in an effort to sell leaded gasoline to the ignorant dipshits of his time, he, in 1924, did I guess you'd call it a demonstration, where he poured this shit on his hands and like inhaled like volatilized lead. He's like, look, man, it's like totally safe. He ended up having to leave the state and go south for like a year to clear out the lead poisoning. So he did this demonstration. Got just through it enough to be like, I'm good, and then stumble off to Arizona to let his like lungs clear out. And then he wonders why he ended up with health problems in later years. Thomas Midgley Jr.
All right, back to bagels. Should an unsliced bagel, should that even be legal?
Well, it's got to start that way. You can't be slicing it way too.
Of course it starts that way, but I shouldn't be able to buy an unsliced bagel because nobody's just chomping into a fucking bagel.
Well, if you're going to the actual plate, see, the thing is when you start to cut it, you've got all this bread exposed. I think I'll agree to disagree on this one, though. Like the Thomas Everything bagels, those aren't even like normal bagels. Those are like doughy little creations. And those ones, yes, please give me those pre-sliced because I don't. This is not a game.
I've never cut a bagel exactly in half, like top and bottom. Okay. You know what I mean?
All right, if this is turning into an indictment,
50-50.
All right, now I feel attacked because now I feel like you're asking me if I ever cut my uncut bagels properly, and the answer is no. Of course, it's
That's
no.
what I'm saying.
Of course, it's coming out wonky.
You deserve better than that. You shouldn't ever have to. Nobody should ever have to cut their own bagel. Then if you put it in the fucking toaster, the bottom, which is super thin now because I had to cut it by my fucking self, is way too toasty, and then the top not toasty enough.
How did I get
a fucking nightmare?
How did I get a knife to sharply dogleg to the left through bread? You know. How did I not correct this while it was happening?
You know how many people are bad with knives, too? This is dangerous.
Oh, yeah, I've got this scar on my hand.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. So you changed your mind.
That's
I've convinced you.
Right. I'm on your side here. But, yeah, and then, of course, if it's a blueberry bagel, in the trash. Right away. All right. Speaking of bagels, speaking of food, let me just seamlessly transition. You were telling me about how's feeding Kendall so far? Is she eating solid foods yet?
We're working on it. It's funny because she wants to touch anything we put in front of her. She thinks wine glasses are hilarious, only if there's wine in them. So if like
that's definitely got the most comic potential.
I was sitting by Katie and I had a glass of wine and Katie was breastfeeding her. And Kendall would like go back for a couple sucks and then like stare at the glass of wine and like fucking smack it a couple times and then go back for a couple more chugs and then come back and fucking smack the glass a couple times. It was hilarious. But I realized the only way she currently ingests anything right now is by drinking. And the other day I was feeding her and she choked a little bit. You know, like how you do when you just swallow wrong every once in a while.
Yeah, when beer goes down the wrong chute
right.
for me.
Yeah, dude, I fuck up swallowing way more than she does by comparison. Which is bananas because she's a fucking rookie and I'm a 31-year vet of swallowing liquids.
Yeah, and I've been eating food here. All right?
yeah, I've gone on to the next level. And she like barely chokes, but there's times where I'm just like chugging a beer and I fuck up and I, start coughing or whatever. It's just crazy to me that
like, why is there coffee all over the kitchen?
Kendall fucked up.
What went wrong?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why were you giving Kendall coffee? Hey, enough. No, I'm absolutely guilty of that. And I'm sure that Kendall is better at consuming than I am. I haven't had any like near death instances though with choking on something at least.
Yeah.
Or have you ever had like a sketchy situation at some food
you
launched?
Want to know? One time I was working on some pretzels and my sister had a friend over and they were making a fort and they wouldn't let me in and I was furious
So you choked.
I was so mad. I'm gonna fucking choke. I was infuriated. I ran inside. I just popped a pretzel in my mouth, and I went to yell to my mom, who was like upstairs on the phone, that Katie wasn't letting me into her fort. My sister's name's also Katie, for the record. And as soon as I went to yell, I sucked. The pretzel goes down, gets lodged in my throat. I'm terrified, but at the same time, pretzels have holes in them. I'm still getting air. Like, I might have been choking, but I also would totally have been fine.
You make it like 8 minutes
until that thing got wet enough to just mush and go down. I was gonna be fine either way, but I was still panicking. And so my mom told me one thing I'd never heard before. She comes downstairs, obviously freaking out. She's like, "Just try to throw up." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Try to throw up." And that is what I did. It came shooting out, no problem. I didn't know that was a thing you could do, since you obviously can't do the Heimlich to yourself. But if you're ever choking, just try to throw up.
Good to know. Yeah, for my work from home days. Yeah, I posted my address in my Outlook signature. Nobody will ever know. If I choke on something on camera, I'm dying. But my address is in there in the off chance that somebody's like, he's turning blue. Oh shit, his address is in his Outlook email. And then they can call the cops from 3 states away, and they find my corpse before the cats eat my eyeballs or something. Yeah, this is I'm going to skip over the Oregon Trail one for now because I feel like we've talked about that a little bit. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about water levels in video games, specifically Super Nintendo, and how they're entirely bullshit.
Totally bullshit. Well, let's not get into the obvious thing, like you're playing a racing game and you drive a car into the water and the car's still working.
It's a lot to ask of these species. Like Donkey Kong, you need him to be your army and your navy. You know, one fucking step at a time there, Eisenhower. Let's keep this land-based right now.
Also, at some point, the water level just stops. Like, you're just, it's 20 feet deep for the rest of the ocean.
There's no other types of game where it changes, like, the physical place that you're in like that. There's never, like, you're playing MLB The Show and it's like, oh shit, we're playing baseball on the moon. 900-foot fences, man. They got a third of the gravity. You got to do what you got to do. Barry Bonds can crank it about 900. But no, Super Mario, fucking Donkey Kong, every 10 levels, they are just ready to change your atmosphere entirely. And they always give you the saddest fucking music because they know that you're going to be stuck there a while. The physics are different. You're going to be fucked. So you got to hear, like, the first Donkey Kong water level is some of the bleakest fucking sad sack music you can find in all of video game history. It is like an Elliott Smith level sadness that sets in. And anyways, I'll save the rest of that for therapy. But I've got some stuff to talk to Laura about. But yeah, absolute fucking bullshit. And now I'm trying to think of whether there's an Air Force requirement for these games. That's really... when's the last time you played Super Nintendo games, played some classic?
Fuck, dude, I don't know, because the first time I ever rage quit, I was probably 6. My brother, very good at video games, and so he always kind of... I spent most of the day watching him play, and I'm like, it's a fucking breeze. I'd get on there and try to play and just fucking biff. Like, just eating shit. Terrible. Can't fucking play it. And so I was such an annoying little kid. There were times where, like, I'd be watching my brother play and he'd be, like, dominating. And I'd be so furious I would just get up and turn the console off because I was the worst little brother ever. And, so I didn't really start playing video games myself until N64. I was really good at Mario Kart. And whatever the Mario game was for N64.
Mario 64. Yeah.
Though
definitely not good at those. The only game I've ever truly been good at were like the Fight Night games. Got up into the rankings on those ones, but that's a lot of not leaving your house. All right. I'll cut that little dead spot out. Chris, you wanted to talk about mustachioed men.
Yeah, I don't know. The mustache is making a comeback. And
I think the comeback's been made.
I'm here for it. I think I'm here for it. I used to feel like every time I saw somebody with a mustache, you just kind of go, ugh.
Stranger danger?
Yeah, I used to always think pedophile. Maybe pedophiles have just changed their their look.
They realized that was too
yeah, they're on to
trendy
me
of
with
a-
the mustache.
Yeah, exactly.
Too much of a giveaway.
I should have realized when we were all at the committee meeting together that we all looked the same.
I got to move on to huge frame glasses.
You just described the two elements of Dahmer's image.
Well, the shoe fits. But yeah, now I meet a guy with the mustache, and most of the time I'm like, fucking all right. I kind of just
I can fight this guy.
fucking like this guy.
Oh, I thought you were going to
Not
say
fight. No, if I'm gonna fight any type of facial hair, the unattached beard, that drives me insane.
Oh, I thought you were going to go soul patch. I thought you were going to go like early 2000s
okay,
closer.
I'm changing my answer.
MLB
Soul
closer.
patch for sure. Scott Spezio's got it coming. Yeah, yeah, not big on the soul patch, but yeah, I don't know what it is about. Now I see a guy with the mustache, and I start with, all right, I like this guy, rather than this fucking guy. You know what I mean? I still don't trust people with mullets, though. Still not there.
Even a hockey player?
Even a hockey player.
Really? They don't get kind of grandfathered
Yeah, they look
in?
a little better because they don't just have a mullet. They've got some cheese on top too, right? They got some nice salad up there. It's not just.
They got the flow.
Yeah, they got flow. It's not just the back.
Okay, so yeah, you're describing almost more the buzz cut mullet or the skullet if you're in the Jesse Ventura realm.
Right. When I think of a mullet, what Joe Dirt? That's what I think of. That's a bit much for me.
No, that's fair. I mean, I think it's safe to say that nobody with a mullet is going to be like curing cystic fibrosis. I'm not saying they're not smarter than me or like gonna like win some bar trivia, but there's no president with a mullet. It's just not happening that way. So I can appreciate somebody that's sort of committed themselves to their lot on the social hierarchy. Like
somebody with a mullet, like they might have invented pull tabs. That's about the peak of their powers.
My dad had a mullet for years, and I can tell you that at times he's like a human pull tab. He's like the personification. It's a gamble. It's a gamble. And I've definitely seen him play a couple $100 worth. But he's also the asshole. It's like, I want $1,200 on a pull tab. Well, you didn't win anything because that money is being rented for the next dumb thing that you do. But it's like winning money in Vegas. This is a rental for 2 hours tops until you find a way to lose it. But yeah, that's also, never mind. I'm not even going to try it with that one. Chris, this next one, I really can't finesse. Putting condoms on a dildo?
Yeah.
You didn't give me more context either. You just left it.
I was doing some research. And I saw...
Seeing if I have a latex allergy.
I saw a video with two ladies, one of whom was wearing a contraption that made it look like she had a wiener. But she was wearing a strap on. All right, she's wearing a strap.
Such colorful euphemisms.
And had a condom on it. And I just started thinking, like, what the fuck are we doing? What could that condom, or what could that strap on possibly have? Or what could she... see, that's what
It just says to me that I'm not having enough fun with my strap-ons.
Right.
Clearly there's a rung of strap-on experience that I have not graduated to.
Why does the strap-on have a condom? I can tell you right now it's not going to come, so you don't need to worry about that.
Again, you don't know where that thing's been.
STD, yeah, watch it. You can bleach a dildo and be fine. Just let it, wash it and just, yeah.
Sure, they tell you they're dishwasher safe, but when you've got family, are they really dishwasher safe? Nobody wants to be popping that open looking for a spatula.
Yeah, right. They're dishwasher safe, but they're not kid. Like, if your kid opens up the dishwasher and there's a dildo in there, you got to answer some questions.
Right.
I also, what I really started thinking was like, maybe this is just an oversight. Like, how far did this go? Like, maybe they're on set and somebody there only had their high school sex ed education, and they're like, well, you're supposed to put a condom on it. And so they rolled a little condom on the dildo, thinking that's what you got to do.
This is a great theory.
It's not a banana, but
now that you're on this tip, so to speak, I'm thinking it might be just pure bureaucracy where they're going through the union language, and they're like, it says any member. And then somebody like legal is like, okay, yeah, but
that's a plastic member.
Okay, but that's section 3(2). What did 3(1) say? Does it refer to the member as like belonging to a human? They're like, no, it's not fucking human at all. And our hands are tied here. Becomes a compliance issue. You want to take the risk? And they're like, put the fucking rubber on the dildo. Just some outraged attorney that's like, I got a degree at fucking Georgetown for this. Unbelievable.
I like all the different colors of dildos. That's fun.
Yeah, the people that grew up in the lambskin condom days, those fuckers had it was all just beige and brown, you know. No purples, no pinks.
Yeah, I mean, flesh tones, you know, it seems like that would make the most sense. But yeah, and somebody shows up with like a lime green dildo, you're like, you seem fun.
You're here to party.
Yeah.
Flesh tone is a little bit... That's like when somebody wears one of those like,
real.
really realistic masks on Halloween, and it's like, whoa, okay. The fun of it is actually in the cartooniness. When you get into this uncanny valley shit, it kind of freaks everyone out in the not good way. You look 80% like William Shatner, and it's fucking weird. So this is a little bit late, but it led to a good question. So we're recording this, June 7th or 8th, whatever it is. We do This Week in History. This is admittedly last week's This Week in History, but May 28th, 1907, the first Isle of Man TT race is held. And that is, for the viewers at home that aren't aware, basically the most dangerous motorcycle race in the world. So on that topic, what is the most dangerous thing you've ever done? Unprotected sex with a dildo aside.
Oh,
Call back.
Traveled to Mexico. I don't know. I actually have to think about that. What's your answer?
Got a couple answers. First one is Snowpocalypse in like 2008 or 9 that got Greg Nichols removed as mayor because he sold the snowplows off. We sled down hills that, of course, when somebody's like, what's the most dangerous thing you've done? Sledding. Like, nerd. We were going down like a 45-degree angle alley that went about 6 blocks, and there was no real way to stop once you start that. So it's like, I hope no car's coming. And you just kind of strap in. Trying to think. There's a few other things for sure in that vein.
See, I think this is where you and I are different, because I always had bits and was fucking around in school, and you weren't as much. I never did anything dangerous.
I mean, that's mildly dangerous.
And you got in fights and stuff, dude. You're so tough.
Oh, yeah.
You're so fucking tough.
My brother used to tag when he was a kid, and one time he was on a billboard and dropped his phone, which then it's like, well, when the cops come, they're going to know exactly who tagged this. So he had the choice of suffer those consequences or drop 30 feet off of the billboard. Dropped 30 feet off the billboard. But yeah, I guess shit. I had better answers for this, but now
I think the most dangerous thing I ever did was climb a roof with you. This actually reminds me, speaking of romantic things we've done together.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember our first kiss?
I don't. I assume it was a game of chicken that we just refused to.
Oh yeah, because you and I, neither of us quit.
Yeah, I mean,
just like that ass doesn't quit.
Heyo,
had to. No, we
literally no choice.
It was my wedding day, and
all right, that was not what I was expecting.
It was.
Sorry,
Katie and I had been done and hitched. We got done hitched, and we're back at the casino, eating at that pizza place and rewatching the Packers preseason game from earlier that day. And we're like at the outskirts of this brewery, and we have our own big table and stuff. And I don't remember how we did, but I said something about how I could kiss you on the mouth, and it turned into chicken instantly. I mean, nothing needed to be said.
Right.
And so I leaned in, you leaned in, and it just happened. And then as we pulled away, there was a security guard right behind us. And it was like, as I saw your face fade away from mine, all I saw was her face like, oh my God. Like,
I suppose that's indicative of where we were at, that somebody saw two men kiss and was like, that was wild.
Yeah. Well, also
very pedestrian.
I mean, for sure, definitely part of where we were. Yeah. won't get into where we were, but yes, it was
Angel of the Winds.
a lot of fuck Biden flags in them parts, but
His name is Brandon.
Is that the guy they keep telling to let's go?
Is that what all the yard art?
So
in my
there's that, but
neighborhood's about?
also looking at the two of us, if I had to pick two guys out of 10, I would never pick you and I to just smooch real quick in public. Ever.
I mean, that's what makes this relationship special, you know?
Fucking love you,
It's
bud.
got that,
Love you, buddy.
it's got that je ne sais quoi. Love you, buddy. Gucci and... It's hard to transition off that one. Gucci or Greasy, drinking the whole Capri Sun without breathing.
This is yours, so I'll let you get your answer
Yeah,
first.
so one of Ashley's hangover cures is to breathlessly drink, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 6 Capri Suns back to back. And not even just drink them, like wringing Capri Sun out of a stone type where you get the full twist so that you can wring out.
Oh my God, I forgot that you do that. Yeah, holy shit. You see, I haven't had a Capri Sun in a long time. They don't really have adult-friendly containers. I can't be walking around with a fucking Capri Sun pouch, just sipping as much as I may want to. It looks a little fucking weird.
You would think they would have allowed it to be used as a mixer by now,
Put
right?
it in a bottle. Right.
Something, you know.
Right. I'm going to say that it's Gucci. In fact, I'm going to say not chugging it is Greasy.
Nursing a Capri Sun is for the birds.
Exactly. That is how it's meant to be taken.
Yeah.
I think the last time I had a Capri Sun, I quote unquote shotgunned it. So, yeah.
This is since we've still got some time. This is a good time for me to ask. Have you ever snorkeled a beer?
Snorkeled a beer? Oh, like
where you put the straw in a bottled beer because you can't shotgun a bottled beer, but you put the straw in it and it lets the air out so you can drink it at maximum speed.
I've never even heard of that, but we should do it. That is amazing.
Works best with the bendy straws.
Of course, because you
Yep.
can kind of bend it the other way.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just getting stabbed in the face.
All right, Chris. So I think we're actually doing great on time. So did you want to talk a little bit about your childhood elephant ear experience?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
And while you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up a couple more things just in case.
let's do it. So I was thinking the other day about the first time I had an elephant ear and how until recently like 2 or 3 years ago, I thought elephant ears were Chinese, like Chinese food. Like you could go to a Chinese restaurant and get an elephant ear. Because the first time I ever had an elephant ear, I was like 6, and it was the incorporation for Sammamish. My mom was on the board or whatever to make that happen. So they were having this big old thing at the park, and a bunch of vendors there, and this Chinese man comes up to my mom and he's asking us if we want an elephant ear. And I'd never even heard of an elephant ear before. I'd never had one, but I was thinking, oh, well, that's a weird thing to eat. Of all the parts of the elephant, it seems like everything else you take the body. Why are we doing the ear? But then I was thinking, like, okay,
What's your fixation, dude?
like as a 6-year-old kid, all that I really understood about Chinese food was some of the stuff is a little different than what I'm not going to eat scorpions. Generally, there's certain things they eat that I normally wouldn't.
6-year-old Chris Bray.
Right. So I'm thinking it's an actual elephant ear. And
You're about to have a unique
but
culinary
my mom's
experience.
looking at me like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, I trust you, I guess. I'm gonna eat an elephant's ear today. And he comes back with an elephant ear, and I'm like, okay, that looks delicious.
Yeah,
I don't know what
fried dough.
you did to this elephant or its ear, but this looks incredible.
Fried the hell out of it.
I then found out it was not an elephant's ear at all, but then I still, up until like recently, was thinking that it was Chinese food because that was the only setting in which, like, that was my initial exposure to it, right? So now whenever I went to, like, the only places you can get an elephant, like a fair or something like that, I was like, oh, it's kind of cool that they're, like, they have other cultures' desserts and, like, foods here.
They've expanded a bit.
Yeah, they're being really inclusive with this Chinese dessert.
That reminds me of as a kid, the first football game I went to was a Raiders game when I was like 3, and I got offered cotton candy And it was my dad had like taken a bite and was like, "Oh, do you want some?" But it was pink cotton candy, and if you take a bite, it looks like red. And I was convinced like there's blood on this cotton candy. It's like, get this shit out of here. Who would eat this madness? But years later found out, all right, pretty good. But and then years after that got diabetic, not as good. But, yeah.
Wah, wah.
This is why you need metformin. I'm not going to set up this one. I think we still have somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. I think the most untrustworthy kind of adult is a 46-year-old with a JanSport.
100%.
Yeah, because there's only two things that an adult with a backpack, and of course it depends on.
For starters, he went and bottom shelf backpack.
It's
two zippers.
Yeah, he's
Still
not going
two
camel
zippers
back.
in the whole thing.
Oh, in my experience, there's only two things that a middle-aged man with a backpack in the middle of a city is going to be doing. One, selling drugs.
Yeah.
Fine, respectable. Two, drinking out of his backpack. Also fine and respectable, but not trustworthy. Neither of these are trustworthy. My key.
I'm not asking that guy to watch my kid for a second while I nip into the liquor store.
Yeah, I believe in 30 Rock. Jack Donaghy says never go with a hippie to a second location. Similar logic applies here when you're dealing with Backpack Man, because that guy's got two handles of vodka in there. I don't know. Is there any red flag characteristic of somebody if you see on the street where you're like, nah, I'm not trifling with, I'm not messing with this guy?
Schizophrenia usually doesn't. Sorry. That was nearly our first spit take on the show. That would have
really
been good.
Visibly down the block mental illness.
Yeah. No, that's really it. I mean, for me, I generally start with trusting anybody, and then I just, further analysis kind of gets me to my conclusion.
Here, I'll throw out another example.
Like today, I was telling you when we were outside, when I was parked in my car, I was waiting to come in. I'm going to be honest. I was staying in my car because there's air conditioning in it and not in here. Or enough in here. I'm sweating. But so I was sitting in my car, and then I saw somebody who did not have a home running, which for starters is always kind of like, okay, that's a little odd. But he just had a bunch of stuff.
Okay, this is another sketchy thing. Adults running. All right, we're identifying stuff.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, exactly. You got jeans on for what? Should I follow you? Where are you running
That's why I don't run. That's why I don't run. I don't want to be judged. But this guy's footing it, right? He's just booking it down the street with a bunch of stuff in his arms. And I didn't think about it until he dropped something, and then he turned around, looked right at it, and instead of going back to get it, started running again. And I was like, oh, what? And then I saw the guy come out of the 7-Eleven who was running it, and I saw him realize he'd been bamboozled. And then I realized what I was seeing. But you see how long I trusted that guy running with a bunch of stuff in his arms? And one part that I really like, his beer was open. So as he was running out with all the stolen goods, he cracked the beer.
Well, that's a priority situation. Like when they showed footage of,
But that would have been a good time to have a backpack.
Yeah, but see, that would also be a good time to demonstrate the lack of trustworthiness that you have because you have this backpack on.
Well, you didn't trust the guy who robbed that 7-Eleven?
You got to quit saying robbed. He stole some stuff. Robbed is like a gunpoint term.
Okay.
It's like when you say dope and you're talking about weed, and it's like dope
what
is
term
heroin.
would you like me to use, Cole?
Stole some stuff.
Okay. Sorry. I saw this guy stole some stuff.
Robbed is just a little too felonious. You need to get at least $200 worth of stuff before it's robbed, and I just think there were too many Twinkies in this guy's arms.
Just right. I don't want it to sound like I wasn't rooting for the guy. Because, you know what I mean? Like, the look in his eyes, he was stoked, right? Afraid, but clearly he,
Yeah, like a running back that's breaking one loose where he's like, I might get caught, but also I see daylight.
Yeah, that way that Kyler Murray kind of leans like a little kid running away when they got your phone. You know what I mean? Like he just doesn't want you to grab him. Yeah, it's pretty adorable. Anyway, I hope he's somewhere enjoying all of his goods.
Potato skins or whatever. I'm going to tell a couple stories. Jake, what do we got, 5 minutes? Tell a couple quick stories about my buddy Brady and some of the thefts he used to commit at the Queen Anne Safeway up on the hill. So,
wow, you named him and everything.
Oh yeah, I think there's a statute of limitations on stealing Tecate. Specifically, it's like 2 years shorter than the rest of the beers. But yeah, so it started slow. It is a Safeway in an affluent neighborhood. There's not a lot of police activity. There's not a lot of concern that people are going to be stealing there. So take a couple things. Oh, there's a party, take a sandwich, whatever. I mean, I think the good corporate people at Safeway will be able to foot the bill. But this continued to escalate. Like, oh, we're going to get a whole basket of stuff this time. I'm going to get potato skins, like, loaded up. The people at the party are hungry. And then one time, they had a display of Tecate near the front door, and he stole 16 12-packs of Tecate. He just loaded up 3 different carts, brought them all out one by one, loaded his car.
Oh, my God.
Easy peasy. So anyways, Chris, what I was going to ask is, do you want to go to Safeway today?
You just made me think. Have you ever stolen anything?
Yeah, a couple times. The last thing I distinctly... Actually... The one thing I know I got caught for stealing was actually like a book of egghead puzzles, like word searches.
You're such a fucking nerd.
I know, right? I stole it, at least. I didn't pay for that shit.
I stole it, at
Fuck
least.
you, Archies. How about
that? Again, way too afraid. I was never going to steal something. But at one point, I didn't realize I was stealing something until the numbers really showed. It was when I was managing the Comedy Underground, and the bartender at the back bar by like where my booth was would always give me free drinks. Anytime I went in, I'd try to pay, and it got to the point where me and Jackie, it was just like she wouldn't even...
Jackie's great.
She'd just be like, whatever, keep it. So I was like, well, hey, I'll save Jackie some work. I'll just go get it out of the walk-in myself. So I just started going into the walk-in cooler and taking out like a 6-pack of Rainiers.
You didn't start with 1 or 2.
Yeah, no.
You're taking actual numbers here.
Yeah, just boom, 6-pack. Because I know I'm going to have 6 over the course of a night. Why not?
You're just being realistic.
Right. And then we had kind of a meeting, which was weird because we never had meetings. And the owner was like, hey.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the chef called it.
The chef was involved. The funny part was the chef knew exactly where this was going. And the owner was like, yes, there's 4 pallets of Rainier not accounted for in the last month. Does anybody know? And then they started blaming other people, and I was just like, yeah, it must have been Robert. Yeah, that's crazy.
Shit,
Robert
this is like the thing where it's like everybody just starts blaming each other.
I don't know why I didn't
No
just
one can
own it,
trust
because, again, I could have just been like, yeah, okay, I'll give you $48 or whatever those fucking pallets
4
cost.
pallets sounds substantive. Like I know what a fucking pallet is in unit measurement.
Yeah, but the whole time the chef's looking at me, because he fucking knew. He'd caught me in the fucking cooler how many times?
All right. Take your scowl and your Denver Broncos jersey somewhere else.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about the chef more in the future. But... Well, where are we on time? 2 minutes? Do we have anything we can do in 2 minutes? Other than each other?
When have potatoes
or
gone
Jake,
too far?
When haven't potatoes gone too far? Potatoes are everything anymore. It's even vodka.
Well, yeah, it's pretty good vodka, though. The lousy Reds figured that one out a long time ago.
Potatoes are just, I don't even remember why I wrote this, honestly. There's potatoes are everything. Fries, hash browns, they're in everything.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have a whole lot of Spud related. We're going to end on a real dud here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to cut
we're
that
gonna
one.
Head on something we're going to cut. What do I need to mention when we wrap up?
I don't think there's anything. We don't have any guests coming up, right? Nothing like that.
No. Conan bailed on us. I guess I kind of bailed on him because he seemed like wishy-washy.
Well, because he was bailing on us. So it's like breaking up with them before they break up with you.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. That's one we were going to talk about.
Oh.
Have you ever dumped somebody?
No. I've only been in 2 real relationships. The one I'm in now, and then the one where it was a mutual breakup, which means, of course, it wasn't mutual.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, what's your body count?
I had like 5, 4.
Okay, that's pretty good for 2 relationships.
Yeah, I'm not putting up numbers over here.
That's not that bad for 2 relationships. That's
body count. You have to come up with a better nomenclature. That is just
that's
so
what
ugly.
the kids are saying these days.
There's
I don't
no
know.
way.
I agree it's stupid, but you knew what I meant.
That's the name of Ice-T's metal band where they sang Cop Killer. I don't want to associate that with sex. I mean,
You don't.
it's pretty hot when Ice-T's going at it, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I've never dumped anybody. I've always been dumped. I've always been like, I can make it work. She's like fucking 3 other dudes. And I'm like, we can figure this out. I swear we can figure this out. Let's make it work. This must be me.
Look, I can watch you guys through the Venetian blinds. I like the crinkly noise it makes when I fucking... It's like a noir film.
Just shower before you come home next time. Seriously. Fuck. Yeah, that got too real too fast. Anyway, let's wrap up on that.
I don't know how you're going to transition off walking into your house to the smell of vinegar to the end of this episode, but I encourage you to walk that way.
Everybody likes being cuckolded. Anyhow, we love you guys. Thanks for listening. It's been another fun episode. I hope. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like I'm bombing every single time, and then I listen back to it. I'm like, all right, this is okay. Me and a couple hundred other people like this.
I think you're okay.
Like and subscribe. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, kind of. I always feel like I forget one. Anyway, links are below. Unless you're listening, then I just fucking sort it out. Go wherever you listen to things and look for Second Lunch Podcast. I've been Chris Moran here with Kolpy, Hot Jake on the 1s and 2s, and yeah, I love you guys a lot. Thank you.